J.J. Dillon talks about working for Vince McMahon. Hear the full episode at RickyMortonOnline.com, Episode 3, J.J. Dillon.
I will say this much about Vince McMahon. He's a workaholic, and he lives and eats wrestling 24/7. He used to have a legal pad at his bedside with a pencil on top of it, and if he'd wake up in the middle of the night with an idea, he'd turn the light on and quick jot it down for fear that come morning he would forget. And that Vince, for all his success, and you know, there's people who knock him, don't like him, but he's built an empire. And a lot of people don't know that he declared bankruptcy 2 times before he ever made it. So he bought the business from his father. His father didn't give it to him. And he had a couple points where he failed and had to start over. And he just had a vision. He's the one guy that realized that cable television changed the industry, and that going national and going international was the future of the business. And the guys that had the little territories, they didn't understand that. And I remember when cable first came, all of the guys, and I don't remember, Ricky, if you were there or remember then, but they had a big show up in the Meadowlands, and all of the promoters, Eddie Graham was there, Jimmy Crockett was there, Fritz von Erich was there, Jerry Jarrett was there. All of the promoters from everywhere were there, and they realized that all of their little territories couldn't survive in and of themselves anymore, because they survived and flourished because they controlled their own television product. And the television product with Eddie Graham was like Jack Briscoe and amateur wrestling and credibility. You went up to the Sheik in Detroit, and it was balls to the wall, man. It was wild and as crazy as you could get it, with Bull Curry and the Sheik and Bobo Brazil. And if you went to Memphis, it was somewhere in between with a little bit of both, with Jarrett and Lawler. And all of a sudden it changed now, because the guys didn't have control over their television, because the superstation was the future, and it was going to be national. And Vince McMahon realized that, and he went to all the territories, bought up the syndicated TV time, and hired all the top stars away, including Hulk Hogan. And then he was the first one to have that vision, went national, and that's why he is where he is today, because he had that foresight.
JJ, I also like to know, I've wondered this for a long time, when you were working for Vince McMahon hand in hand, day and night, I would imagine, probably some poolside weekends, was Bruce Pritchard a large part of the picture at that point in time?
He was more towards the end. And as I moved on, I was there for, like I say, you said 80, first part of 89 through 96. And I never really answered your question before, that I would go to the office every day, and Vince would be in the office, suit and tie on. I had a suit and tie on, and Vince was hands-on with everything. If they had a poster for a pay-per-view to publicize it, he would approve that poster. And it was the attention to detail. I remember they had a big thing where Hulk is in the middle of the ring. They freeze him where he's tearing the shirt, the Hulk jersey. And he's in the ring, so behind him are a sold-out crowd. Now, if anybody's ever been to a wrestling event and you shoot from the beauty shot up in the stands at the rest of the arena, there's never a time when every seat is filled. Somebody either gets up to go to the bathroom, or they get up to go get popcorn. And Vince, when he would shoot that shot, if there was an empty seat somewhere, he would have an artist take and fix it so that every seat was full. That was where his attention to detail was. And after all those years in the business, I still stopped learning from Vince McMahon, because he was still learning, and I was absorbing from him. So I was in the office all week, and all of the creative was done at his home on weekends. And I would go out to his house with Pat Patterson, and we would sit in casual clothes. And in the summer, we'd be out. He had like a pool where I watched Stephanie and Shane grow up, and he had a veranda out there with a bank of phones, and that's where we would work out there. And in the wintertime, we'd work in his formal dining room Saturday and Sunday, and then we would stay and eat dinner at his home around the dinner table with Vince, Linda. They had a woman, an Oriental woman, that was their housekeeper, and she cooked meals. And if Shane was there, if Stephanie was there, to sit and have dinner with them too. So it was a wonderful time in the business, and I was still learning at that point. And I have to give credit to Vince McMahon. Everything that he's had, his success, is because he had the vision, was willing to work for it, and he's earned all the success he had.
She said, Rama, lama, bama, lama, rock and roll is king.